That's one thing. If I could change something in the field, it would be, starting salaries and salaries in the field, because I do think that that's one of the things that is very difficult, because you have to be willing to possibly work at a lower scale. I have a good job, at least in my opinion, and I'm not paid very handsomely. Like I said, I probably gross about 31,200. That's gross. That's not including taxes and what they take out for healthcare and 401k. So it's very difficult. Like I said, I do work a second job in retail, and I just to help me have that extra contingency money, some extra spending money, so I'm not living in the poorhouse. But for a while, it may be difficult to be out on your own, and you might have to depend on your parents, or have a couple of roommates in a house that you share, all the expenses in, and depending on where you live, a bedroom in, a two-bedroom in Fairfield's a lot more pricey than a two-bedroom in Willimantic. Despite the fact you may not want to live in Willimantic, you might have to, be willing to take some of those concessions. But the most important thing is certainly finding a job, and then finding one in an area where you can sustain yourself. You might have to live outside the city. You might have to commute a little bit. You might not be able to afford that place downtown in New York City. You might have to live in White Plains, or take the subway in. But certainly, those should be taken into account when you find jobs. Is finding the job is key, and then looking at the cost of living and the expenses, because it's tough, and you might have to take a second job, and that's not, it's kind of, you almost feel sad, because you say, well, I went to college so I wouldn't have to work two jobs, and unfortunately, that's not the case. But like I said, if I could change one thing, it would certainly be salaries, and I would, certainly increase them, because I just, the amount of work that you put in, I know you can get off a lot easier by doing other jobs, that will pay you more, probably, but, and you don't have to work as hard. So you have to be able to work hard and do the work for less money, and possibly work a second job, which is tough, because, it's, some people don't want to do that, and I have to do what you do what you have to do to survive, and, it might take a little bit, it might take for some things to improve, and they'll say, look, we can make you a stringer now, but if things improve, maybe they can, move you along and pull you into a full-time role or something. And you have to be optimistic, and, hopefully you have good parents that can at least offer you some support and say, yes, like, I understand, things are difficult. And there is quite a trend where it's people who even work on Wall Street as young people, and people work in the finance industry and still live at home, because it's too expensive to live elsewhere. And, you have to believe that things will, improve in terms of, that you will, move on to the bigger paper. You'll find a job that, maybe at a business journal that pays more and requires some travel or something. And, you just have to, that you just have to know that you start at the basement floor, and you start on ground one, and then you work your way up, and it may not be fast, and you may take a different path. My path may not be the same as someone else's, but you just have to believe that it's going to get better, that you'll move on, you'll acquire some skills, you get the experience, and the colonel say, he's been in the field for 5 years, let's take him on, and with that, you get paid $5,000 more, maybe, just as a, you just have to be willing to put in the time and the effort, and that's really what it is. It's not easy. It's trust me, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And the only other thing I can say is just, even when you have jobs, don't be afraid to look elsewhere as well. Be in search of another opportunity, because if someone makes you an offer you can't refuse, there's no shame in taking it, So, if you were to find, something better, or, something that may be a little less stressful, but it's a lateral move, that's fine too. If it's, if it gains you some exposure, that's, and no one will fault you for that,